Good morning, everyone out there in YouTube land. Thanks for joining us live. We'll be fishing a little while this morning doing a product review on some fishing rigs. Name of the rigs are SigsRigs, S-I-G-S, rigs out of not Topsail, but Oak Island, North Carolina. We started fishing about 3 hours ago, went live on several other platforms, and just like I said, doing a product review on these rigs. So far, I've been very impressed. The action has been good. The quality of the rigs are spot on, and the performance of them has been very good as well. We'll stay live here on YouTube for, I don't know, maybe 30, 45 minutes. Hopefully catch some fish, and ultimately at the end, when I finish up today, I'll take all my video footage and pictures, and I'm gonna do a full video and picture review that I'll upload. I've been live on Facebook Live this morning. I went live on TikTok for a few minutes, Instagram. So hitting all of our feeds. Feel free to look back and review those videos as well. We've caught multiple fish this morning, multiple species. I think we're up to 5, maybe 6 different species now, being wheatfish, black drum, no pompano yet, but whiting, croaker, bluefish. I'm probably leaving something out. I always do fresh bait every 15 to 20 minutes, which we're in that time period now. So for the next little bit, I will not be monitoring the live feed, but feel free to make any comments, leave any, ask any questions. I'll be glad to review those later or get back with you. But I'm in the process of getting some fresh bait out there. Can't catch fish on credit, so if I'm going to do a reliable product review, I've got to have bait on the hooks. So that's what I'm working on now. As you've just seen as we first started the live, that you've seen that I was in the process of putting bait on rod number 1. So rod number 1 is what I call like a drum rig, where I'll be targeting red drum, the big guys. It's got a, I'm guessing a 6/0 hook on heavy mono line. Heavy duty clasp. It's got a slide sinker weight on it. So I don't have to worry about losing my tackle because the cheaply made clasp or the quality of those. That's one thing that always concerns me because I use Sputnik sinkers, tail lift Sputnik sinkers made by Redfin Fishing. And if the clasp are not heavy duty, whenever those Sputniks lock into the sand and you go to retrieve them, you'll actually pull the clasp open and you'll lose your Sputnik sinker. And if you've bought any Sputnik sinkers, you'll know they're not cheaply. They're very costly. So that's one thing I don't have to worry about. The rod that I'm putting fresh bait on now, putting fresh shrimp on, this is the SigsRigs Pompano rig. It's got a 1/0 circle hook, and they have floats on the hooks, and it's been very productive this morning. I'm using shrimp on this rig or rod that I'm standing at now, and then rod number 3 to my left, the furthest away from the camera. It's the same pompano rig, but I'm using cut finger mullet on it. I've caught about the same amount of fish on each rig, and normally when I'm fishing, especially pompano rigs, double drop rigs, usually I'm using fish bites along to tip whatever fresh bait I'm using. But today, by doing a product review, I want to see the performance of the rig stand alone. You know, I don't want any outside influences other than, of course, fresh bait. So I want to see how the rigs perform standalone by themselves. And so far this morning, these rigs have performed very well. I would almost be willing to say exceeded my expectations because I really didn't know what to expect when I first started, when I looked at these rigs, and not because I had any doubts in the workmanship or the quality. It's just that normally I use a little different style hook. Normally I do use a double drop, but it's just a little different setup, and that's my comfort zone. So today, by testing these rigs, I'm stepping a little bit out of my comfort zone, but I've been thoroughly impressed with the workmanship and the quality of the rigs, and then in turn, I've been impressed with the quality of fish we've caught also. We've not caught any junk fish, what I would refer to as junk fish. Now, of course, a lot of the wheat fish we've caught, and we've caught a lot of the wheat fish. I turn those back because you can only keep one. Is the daily limit here in our area, and I'm just doing a product review today, so I'm not trying to feed the family. So I turned that guy loose, and or those guys. But we've caught some black drum, which is underslot black drum, so we had to turn those loose. But we've kept a couple. Caught a very nice bluefish. I'm guessing it was somewhere in the 18-inch range. Caught some whiting, some croakers, so it's been a good, all well-rounded morning. One thing that I haven't hooked up with, and it ain't a fault of the rig by no means, but been targeting the red drum, big red drum. And good morning. When I say it's no fault of the rig, here in the location I'm fishing this morning, I'm in Horry County, and you can't target sharks here, so we can't use steel leaders, and we can't use big chunks of cut bait. Oh, we've already got fish on number 3, I believe. Let me see what we got here. Yeah, I believe he's on there. See what we got. Hey, he may have tossed it. Yep, he tossed that one, so no biggie there. He took our bait. We'll get a fresh piece of bait put on there and get back on it. But as I was saying, in Horry County, we can't target sharks, so that limits my ability to fully be able to demo this rig that's on line number 1. Ideally, I'd like to use big chunks of cut bait or larger pieces of chunk bait on that rig. But in this county, they say you're targeting sharks when you do that. So we try to abide by all the South Carolina DNR regulations. And so our hands are kind of tied as far as that. I've been using fresh whole finger mullet on that setup, and we have caught some nice quality fish, just not the big red drum that I'd typically be targeting with a rig like that. So with that being said, I'm going to go to a pier here in the next day or so and do some fishing with that rig, tie it on, and I'm specifically going to target the red drum, and I'd love to hook up and fill one, land one on this rig before I put the product review. That way I can attest to it, but I have no doubt it's going to perform. And there's still a possibility we hook up with it today. But my hands are just kind of tied because of my location on the type of bait that I'm able to use with it. We started fishing just shortly after 7 a.m. this morning, and in all reality, I had the pictures and the video that I needed to give a outstanding review for this SigsRigs. Just within the first an hour, we caught multiple fish, nice quality fish, landed them, hook up, whole 9 yards. So the review was very good, or could have been ended then, but I enjoy going live on platforms, and this cat right here in front of the camera really never ceased to amaze me. I'm sure he's gonna go jump in the water right where I'm swimming. Wave at the camera, bud. So anywho, yeah, we set up, got started around 7 a.m. this morning. By 8, I could have ended the review, but I wanted to go live on multiple platforms. And so this is our 4th platform that we've been live on this morning, being Facebook, TikTok, Instagram, and now YouTube. And so this review is, the live event right now is not solely the review of the product. I'll be doing an in-depth release of a review with pictures and video footage, and show close-ups of all the rigs. But coming in the camera view is the rig that we're using on 2 and 3. It's the Pompano rig, 1/0 circle hook, custom hand-painted floats, and it's got 25-pound fluorocarbon line, fluorocarbon line. So very heavy duty, very good quality. Like I said, all the hardware from the hooks to the swivels and the clasp are all good quality. I have zero problem giving it a stamp of approval. So later on, expect to see a release on the review. I'm sitting here pausing because rod number 2, I think we got a fish on. He ain't a big guy, but if he's not on, he's sure liking it. But we're gonna stay live on the YouTube platform for another 30 minutes or so. The bite, and we're kind of in the in-between stage where the bite has slowed down for a little while. And once we get about an hour from high tide, which will be around 11 a.m., the bite should pick back up. But, you know, fishing's always fishing. If I leave right now and don't catch another fish, it's been a great morning. For anybody that tunes in, if you do not follow us on our YouTube channel here, go ahead and hit subscribe, hit the little bell, get the ding. That way you get notified of our newly uploaded content. Every Thursday evening at 6 p.m. we upload a new episode of a fishing adventure. And this week it's going to be a shark fishing adventure, action-packed. And it'll be dropping tonight at 7 p.m. So go ahead and like, follow, subscribe, share, comment, you know, all the above. We appreciate it. Fish on number 3. Yes, sir. So we'll see what we got here. This morning we've been really wearing the wheat fish out. Kind of hit like a wheat fish, so I imagine that's what it's going to be. We'll keep him cruising in here and see what we got. Hook up on the Pompano double drop rig using fresh cut finger mullet. We'll send that guy on his way. So you guys can't see it, but like I said, later on I'll post pictures and video of everything up close. But the rig we're using has hand painted floats. It's a purple. It's a white float with a purple and orange lines painted on it. It's been very productive this morning. Caught multiple fish on this rig. And that's one thing I want everyone to understand. Even though it's called a Pompano rig, it's still very universal for every other species of fish out here. You see, we just caught the wheat fish. Some people call it a sea trout or a spotted trout. But this morning we've caught 5 different species. And so all the rigs are very universal, even though they have a name behind them. You can use different baits. I'm using fresh shrimp and cut finger mullet, like I said. And both have performed well. Certain species prefer, certain baits, but the rig is very universal. So on the middle rod, I'm using shrimp, and then the rod furthest from the camera, I'm using the cut finger mullet. Yes, sir. So everyone that comes by always asks, any luck? And I just go with yes, sir, which is 100% correct. It's been a great morning. We've caught multiple fish, like I said. I've lost count of how many. And as I said earlier, also the review could have ended 30 minutes in with a good positive review, but I like going live on different platforms and sharing the experience with everyone. So that's why we continued. I'm gonna fish for another hour or so. Probably leave the live feed going for another 30 minutes, and then I'll be killing it and start packing up and call it a day. Get back to the office and get this review pulled together. Like I said, before I do release the review, and I may do a partial review release, but I want to try rod number 1 here. I want to try it on the pier. I feel confident I can hook up with some red drum, some of the big bulls from the pier. So before I do a full product review, which I can update it as well, I want to get a big red drum on this rod number 1 here. I want to get a red drum on it, and that way I can attest to what I'm targeting with it and attest to its workmanship. But I have no doubt, just based on the quality, that it's going to perform. As I stated earlier, just because of my location I'm at this morning, my hands are kind of tied to the way I can present baits. And so I want to, I'm not saying we won't hook up with a big red drum here in the immediate surf. The baits, I can't use large cut baits, or I can't use, like typically I'd like to use a bluefish head. I can't do that. Or a whiting head. I can't use the head pieces here in this location because DNR says you're targeting sharks when you do so. And so we abide by all South Carolina DNR rules and regulations. And so our hands are somewhat tied, is that aspect of things. It's been so far bright and sunny. Started out at 52 degrees this morning. I imagine we're approaching the 70-degree mark now. Turned out to be a beautiful day. Fishing has been great. The bite has been on fire. For the biggest part of the morning, you see I've got 3 rods out now. I started with 3 rods, but for the majority of the morning, I was only able to have hooks off of rods, or 2 rods in the water at a time, just because I was bouncing back and forth. The bite was so quick that the 3rd rod, it was almost impossible to get 3 rods out because the bite was so fast. I was getting a lot of splash bites this morning, which is I refer to as soon as the bait hits the water, they're hooking up with it before it even hits the bottom. So had quite a few of those this morning. Had a couple pulls on rod number 1. We caught a big bluefish on it. I'm guessing somewhere in the 16 to 18 inch range. Very nice heavy bluefish. And like we've caught maybe 5 different species this morning, being whiting, croaker, bluefish, black drum, wheatfish, or sea trout, whatever you refer to them as. And I may be leaving something out. Like I said, I've caught so many fish I've lost count. I've tried to spend about an hour live on each platform. Started out on Facebook Live and went to TikTok for a few minutes, then to Instagram, and now, of course, we're on YouTube. And So you can go to those other platforms and review the live feed from earlier. Of course, it won't be live, but it will still be posted on the timeline. And so you can go back and review and see what action we had at that point in time, and what I was referring to as only being able to have two rods. The bait was just, it was on fire, which I contribute to the rigs that I'm using today, being SigsRigs. The performance of these guys have been outstanding. Like I said, if anything, it exceeds my expectations of what I was expecting, and a very pleasant review. Caught good quality fish and a bunch of good quality fish. So that's what I always look for to give a stamp of approval, is the workmanship and the quality, and both of them have exceeded my expectations. We're going to step away from the mic, from the volume feed. The live video feed will continue, and we get a hookup, the volume will kick back in. Feel free to ask any questions, leave any comments. Make sure you like, share, subscribe, comment, all the above while you're here. And just a reminder, we'll have a new episode dropping tonight at 7 p.m. here on our YouTube channel. It's going to be a shark fishing with a local guy, Daniel Gibson's his name, DG Construction. We had a good, and it's only part of our fishing adventure. We had such a successful day shark fishing. We turned around and went and targeted some red drum, and we wore those guys out, which will be a later episode dropping. But like I said, I'm gonna kill the mic feed or the volume feed, and the video will continue, and I'll join back up when we get a hookup. So we're gonna keep an eye on rod number one, starting to get a few little bites on it. Don't appear to be the big guy that I'm after, but can always surprise you. So I was taking some quick little hits, which kind of mimic maybe the weak fish bite, possibly a small shark. Even though we can't target sharks here, we can't help what bites our hook. We try to alleviate or wean out the shark bite by using whole finger mullet and not using cut baits on the larger hook. But that's one of the great beauties of surf fishing, is you never know what you're going to reel in. And prime example of that is the pompano rigs we're using on rods 2 and 3. It's called a pompano rig, but we've caught 5 species this morning and we haven't caught a pompano yet. So it ain't a failure of the rig the reason that we've not hooked up with a pompano. They're just not a whole lot in the area this time of the year. Our water's starting to cool off and they're starting to migrate back south. And that just shows you how universal these rigs are, that you can control what you catch kind of by the bait that you use. The middle rod we're using fresh shrimp, and then rod number 3 we're using fresh finger mullet, cut finger mullet. So we will use cut baits on small hooks, but small pieces of cut bait. So we're talking a piece of finger mullet about maybe the size of your thumbnail. We're going to go about 10 more minutes on this live event, and then we're going to pull the plug and call it a day. Get back to the office and edit some of this footage I got and start working on this review. But so far, the review's going to be a good review because these rigs, SigsRigs, S-I-G apostrophe S, rigs, R-I-G-S, have performed phenomenally. The quality's there. So I have zero problem recommending them to anyone. If you have Facebook, bounce over to his Facebook page. Give him a shout. Tell him you've seen the review with John Scheidel. And I do not sell the rigs. I have no affiliation with SigsRigs. I'm just doing a product review and a demonstration of the products they sent me. And so I give my honest opinion and back it up with the results that you guys have seen this morning. And so highly recommend these rigs. And as far as that goes, anyone out there that's in the surf fishing or in the fishing manufacturing line, if you have a product you would like for me to review, get in touch with me. Send me a message, send me an email, and I enjoy doing product reviews. And get in touch with me and we can get you lined up. And of course, you know, we'll do a live event and I'll do a full product review like I have this morning. So we're gonna kill the video feed again. I thought we was gonna get a hookup on rod number 1. We're gonna give it a few more minutes and then we're gonna start breaking down and call it a day. So it's funny, as a couple just walked by and I was talking with them and they're like, hey, what's up with the camera? And so, you know, I say, well, you know how fishermen, they like to tell stories. Everybody says we exaggerate, we make up and build the story 10 times. So I back my stories up with pictures and photos. So they just laughed and walked on. But no, really, anytime I do a review, I like to back up the review with video footage and pictures. We've been live here on YouTube for about 20-25 minutes and we've caught maybe 1 or 2 fish in that time frame. So don't let that reflect these rigs that I'm using, because we started at 7 a.m. roughly this morning and I've lost count of how many fish we've caught on these rigs. We've been live on several different platforms, from our Facebook page, John Scheidel, to our Instagram page at Myrtle Beach Surf Fishing, and same with TikTok. And so you feel free to go back and look at those other social media platforms and just look back at the fish we've caught throughout the morning. And plus, I will be doing an in-depth review where I'll pull all that video footage and pictures together, and I'll be releasing a full edited or a full version of this review and product demonstration of SigsRigs. The live feed is not to, it's just so you can be along with me as I do this demo. And I do go live on different platforms. But I just want everyone to understand that this is only a small portion of the morning, and just because we've only caught 1 or 2 fish, we're getting outside of the ideal bite time, and so I expect the fishing to slow down. But take a look back at the other social media platforms, or just watch out for when we do release the full version of the product review of SigsRigs, and I think you'll be amazed with, like I said, number one, the quality of these rigs, and then number two, how well they function and the workability and the quality of fish we've caught this morning. So we'll be killing the live feed here momentarily, start cleaning up, get back to the office so we can get everything pulled together. And thanks for everyone who has dropped in or that will review this. It will go on my timeline once I kill the live feed, so hopefully we'll get other people watching it as it stays posted on my timeline for a while. And if you don't follow Myrtle Beach Surf Fishing here on YouTube, go ahead and hit the subscribe and the bell. That way you can get notifications of when we are live or when we freshly upload content. We upload a episode weekly, Thursday nights at 7 p.m. And then sporadically all throughout the week, we're dropping short videos. We do one long video or episode weekly, like I said. And tonight we'll be dropping an episode of a shark fishing event that we did and landed multiple sharks. So thanks for everybody who watched and tuned in, and feel free to leave any comments or requests. Thank you.